What's happening, party people? This is your daily morning motivational message. It is faith, focus, and follow through Friday. And motivation is a lot like taking a bath, personal hygiene, personal fitness regimen. You got to do these things consistently every single day over time in some way, shape, or form in order to maintain a level, a standard of excellence in your life, in your presentation, in who you are, how you show up, and how you show out. Are you delusional? You got to be a little delusional. It's very, very important. And there's a fine line between being delusional and being stupid. Delusional is having an ambitious dream and unbelievable reach for a goal, an outcome. So much so that people might look at you kind of funny, look at you sideways, like, are you really going for that? Do you really think you can do that? Have you looked at your life recently? Have you looked at your circumstances? Have you looked at your track record? Do you really think you are going to achieve what? Achieve that? How long you been at it? How long you been what? Man, you delusional, bruh. Nah, you beyond delusional. You stupid. You stupid. So you do have to have a delusional quality because you're stretching beyond the realm of your current situation and you're reaching for something that perhaps you've never even come close to. And that's the power and the beauty and the magic of belief, the magic of thinking big, the magic of be ye not conformed to the ways of this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Are you willing to stretch and go for greatness in that capacity? Now, you have to have delusion, but you also have to have results. See, I was delusional about wanting to be a performer, but I was also getting results, and the results have to be on the come up. So I got results in community theater, and then I got results in non-professional theater, and then I got results in professional theater, and then I became a union card member of the Actors Equity, and then I became a Screen Actors Guild member, and then I started getting results in booking gigs in television and film and performing across the country and even around the world. I was getting results in my delusional beginnings began to manifest into reality. See, you got to understand, there were many a nights when I was on a stage, and it was always a Monday night because that's when theaters are dark. And I was doing my monologues, and I was performing to an empty house, but I was performing in my imagination to a house that was full of dignitaries and leaders and educators and professionals and theater enthusiasts coming to see great work on stage. And I was honored to be a part of that process, being one of those key actors. And I was doing all of this in an empty theater. I was a little bit delusional because there was nobody there cheering me on. I didn't ask anybody if that's what I should do. There was nobody sitting in the audience. It was literally me in an empty theater. But still had to get results. I still had to work. I had to book gigs, even if they were non-professional at the time. And even my first professional gig, I was like part of the chorus. It wasn't anything, it was a starting point. So I was still having this delusional imagination about achieving something great over time. And eventually I went from community theater to non-professional theater to professional to leaving the small theater scene of Cleveland, Ohio to being in New York City and eventually becoming a full-time working actor in New York and doing television and doing film and doing off-Broadway and then doing Broadway and then traveling across the United States performing, doing all these great plays, August Wilson, Ernest Gaines, Shakespeare, Eric and Jessica Jensen, just so many great plays and great playwrights, Lobby Hero. I mean, just But I had to start with that delusional quality. I had a delusional quality that I could be a speaker. I didn't have anything that to back that up. I just had the idea. I had the imagination. I had the willingness to work. And so I spoke for free. And I spoke for free again and 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 again. But I had this delusional quality that I could actually make a living doing it. And I remember my first professional speaking gig, I got paid $150 for the hour. I was so excited. I was so fired up. I couldn't believe that I was actually earning income doing something that I loved that much. In my second professional speaking gig, I was paid $11,500 for the hour. Do you notice it's the same numbers, 150 to 11,500? They grew in both directions. I had a delusional quality, but I had to get results. I had to hold myself accountable. When I got involved in sales, I'd never had any experience in sales. I didn't know what I was doing, but I had a delusional quality that I could do it. I knew I could learn. I knew I could work and outwork. I knew I could keep improving and developing myself and getting better. Constant, never-ending improvement. And because of that delusional quality, even though people were looking at me sideways, they still looking at me sideways. I'd already proven myself as an actor. I had done something that 93% of the acting population will never do. I'd already done all those things. People were looking at me sideways. I had become a full-time professional speaker. I had made more income as a speaker in a month than 95% of speakers are going to make in a year. I had proven myself, and people were still looking at me sideways. You think you're going to do that? You think you're going to do that? You going to do that? I knew I could learn. I knew I could outwork. I knew I could out-improve. And so I got to work. And there were a lot of doubters. A lot of people looking at me crazy. A lot of people saying, I'm sure you're going to, those things don't work. And that's not going to happen. And blah, 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 blah. I just kept at it. This delusional quality. My results were small, almost insignificant. But I counted and celebrated those wins because I was getting results. I was delusional, but I knew I had to get results. It's not enough just to have an idea. It's not enough just to want to be something. You got to go out and prove yourself in the marketplace. And I'm not saying you have to go out and kill it your first month or even your first year, but you got to get results consistently. You got to be able to show something. And because I was able to show something to myself, I kept going. And I just kept getting better. Maybe I could do a little bit more, getting better. And I went from a little something to a lot of something. I went from doing my first presentation for a room of 2 people. I rented out this big room. All these chairs were set up, but there were 2 people that showed up. I went from that to having to pay for 2 rooms with over 500 people for a presentation. I had a delusional quality, but I was getting results. I hope that you have a dream and a goal and an ambition and a hunger and a drive that just keeps you awake, that just drives you insane because you have to get it done. It's not going to happen as fast as you want it to sometimes. Sometimes it will, but sometimes it won't. And you just want it so bad. You just want to make it happen now. But you just got to keep going. You got to keep digging, but you got to produce. You got to have a track record of some results. I keep my receipts. It may not happen as fast as I wanted to, but I keep my receipts. Keep digging. Appreciate that delusional quality, that childlike naivete about what's possible for you. And then turn what's possible into what's probable. And what's probable becomes a part of who you are. And now your life gets really interesting because now you're manifesting, you're creating. And you're living the life that you dreamed of. Can you be as grateful? Can you be as grateful for the things that you aspire to before they arrive as you will be when they do? I'm going to say that again. Can you be as grateful for the things that you aspire to as you will be? An amazing job of finding. Can you be as grateful for the things that you aspire to as you will be when they arrive. I'll say it one more time because I was turning the car on to keep the light. Can you be as grateful for the things that you aspire to? Can you be as grateful for them now as you will be when they arrive? Hold tight to that delusional quality and work your ass off to make it a reality. If you got some from this, if you feel me, if you know what I'm talking about, get after it. Like and subscribe. Pass this video on because it's a blessing to be a blessing.